99.3 WPT.
So, Bo Thompson, the time has come. I've been sitting on the sidelines during the past, especially 4 months, and watching the radical left just take over our federal government. The radical policies of Nancy Pelosi, Schumer, Biden, Harris, they're opening our borders and they're closing our schools. It makes no sense whatsoever. They're implementing a so-called infrastructure policy where they have very little infrastructure, including roads, trains, and bridges, which I've built as a governor and as a mayor. And yet, this is just pork barrel spending at the expense of future generations. Speaking of future generations, we've gone mad regarding the fiscal irresponsibility coming out of Washington. We're spending on our children's credit card with having no idea how it's going to be paid back. And right now, I care more than anything to ensure that the generation after us and their kids and their grandchildren have the same quality of life and opportunities that we have here today in the United States of America. But if we continue to build upon this debt, we're not going to give them that opportunity, and that's not right. I've proven as a governor and as a mayor that I know how to read a budget and I know how to balance a budget. And I even know how to deal with major deficits and turn them into surpluses. And the list goes on and on and on. There's a calling that I have. My dad told me, fulfill your potential. Fulfill your potential where you can make the biggest difference to leave this place a better place than when we arrived. As a city council member, as a mayor, as a governor, and as a radio host, I think we have fulfilled our potential. And we've brought a unique voice to help the dialogue and to help the quality of life and to help with problem solving that we desperately need in Washington now more than ever. So let me just tell my family, my audience, my friends, I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. I'm going to run for the U.S. Senate because I'm simply the best for the job. Of all the candidates that are considering to run for the U.S. Senate, Republican and Democrat, I am the best for this job. And if I wasn't, I wouldn't run. I'm the best for this job because I've done it. I fulfilled my promises. Every step I've taken, I fulfilled my promises as a city council member, as a mayor, as a governor, and right here, even in media. I've been transparent. I've been honest. I've been direct. And I plan to do just that as the next U.S. Senator representing North Carolina. And speaking of North Carolina, I know this state better than anyone else. I love this state. And we need someone from outside Washington, D.C. to help solve Washington problems. We need North Carolina solutions in Washington because we know how to solve problems here in North Carolina. From the coast through the Piedmont all the way to the mountains. I know this state and I know its people. One thing as a mayor and as a governor, I was out there. I didn't stay in the office. I was out there listening to you, listening to your ideas, your concepts, your solutions, and learning from you, learning from people a lot smarter than me and understanding that if you're elected in office or if you're a member of the media, you don't have all the solutions. We need to learn to listen and then take that knowledge from that listening and convey it and produce. And we're not doing that in Washington, D.C. We have a lot of people giving speeches, but saying nothing. Their mouths moves, but we can't hear a word that they say. I'm not going to do that. By the way, on the campaign trail, we're going to have fun. We're going to be transparent. We're going to be direct. We're going to be honest. No PC, no identity politics, no cancel culture. That works against everything that I've learned about our democracy. It's the strength of our democracy is direct, honest communications, and direct and honest efforts to solve the complex problem that our country is facing now and in the future. And my goal as the next U.S. Senator is to prepare for the future and to ensure that the next generation does have the same quality of life that we so much enjoy today, and maybe even better. And that means making sure we're protected at our borders, making sure we have a strong defense of the military, making sure that we have affordable taxes and lower taxes, making sure that we have strong, resilient infrastructure, making sure that we have a healthcare system that deals with the number one issue in healthcare that's not being discussed enough, and that's mental health and drug addiction, which is personal to me and my family and to many others throughout this state. We've got to listen to the blue-collar worker out there that I think the last administration did such a good job in doing. The worker who's repairing our car, the people working in agriculture, people working in the factory or at the restaurants who have been suffering during this virus. You see, I've handled crisis before. I've handled hurricanes. I've handled the 100-year ice storm, the 100-year drought, the 100-year... I even handled a riot right here in Charlotte where I called the National Guard. I had the courage to call the National Guard 2 weeks before my election because I didn't care about the election. I cared about the safety of the people of North Carolina. And I had the courage to call the National Guard to back up our police, which is desperately needed throughout the United States. And right now, we don't have many people on Capitol Hill or in the White House who've actually had to call the National Guard and work with the police and work with neighborhood leaders, start from the grassroots and build up and create policy for the next generation. That's why I'm running for the U.S. Congress, for the U.S. Senate, because the senator does have a voice, and I want to be the voice for North Carolina, the voice of